Julia said, my name is Katie Beck, and I'm a clinical exercise physiologist as well as a kinesiologist. And I specialize in working with people with complex medical conditions. The Exercise for Health program started about a year ago, a little bit more than a year ago, in partnership with the Department of Health and Wellness, when we identified the fact that specifically because of the pandemic, a lot of programs had been shut down. People didn't have the opportunity that they might have previously to be as physically active. A lot of community programs were closed. So we decided to tackle this, and this is where this program was born out of. So originally it started with programming for 4 different types of chronic diseases. So there was COPD, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, as well as cancer. So each of those groups had their own specific 6-week programs. It was very successful to begin with, so we've continued it. I just offered an offering this fall for those 4 conditions that will be offered again this winter and spring. And we've also added osteoarthritis as well as neuromuscular disease to those offerings. So lots of good things. Right now it's being offered virtually. My hope is that in the future we might be able to expand to some in-person portions as well, because that's helpful for some people. But the virtual programming has worked nicely for Islanders because regardless of where they live on PEI, they're able to access the program fairly easily. There's always a few bugs to work out, as I'm sure you know, but they're very minimal and we're able to work around it. So I'm going to give you a little presentation today about the Exercise for Health program. I'm going to talk specifically about the COPD portion and the types of things that we cover. And then I'm going to give you a demonstration at the end of the types of exercises that you might participate in if you decide to join the program. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay. Okay, so are you able to see my presentation on the screen now?
Yes.
Great. So as I said, it's a collaboration between myself and the Department of Health and Wellness. And so I'll give you a little overview of what exactly that looks like. So it is done entirely virtually, and we use Zoom, Zoom Healthcare to be specific, so it's secure. We don't record each of the sessions because I encourage people to ask questions, ask for modifications, include their own feelings, experiences, and chat with others if they'd like. That's not a requirement if you're not comfortable doing that. But we try and treat it very similar to how you would treat an in-person session, that what is discussed in the group stays within the group. Okay. There's a full health screening done prior to that with me before people begin the program. And we'll talk a little bit more about specifically what you're asked, but that is to ensure the safety of all the participants. It's a 6-week program and it's 1 hour per week. So I don't have the start date yet or what day and time it will be in the winter, but I try to alternate between an evening offering and then the next offering I'll do a daytime offering, just to try and accommodate a variety of different schedules. And so we get together once a week for those 6 weeks. After those 6 weeks have been completed, you have the option of joining the graduate program. So the graduate program was born out of the need for a place for people to go after they finish the 6-week program. So after you finish the 6-week program, if you're enjoying it and you'd like to continue, then you're welcome to join the graduate program. And the way that works is that people from different types of chronic disease groups all come together, and we don't do an education portion, we just do a half hour of exercise each week. Currently it's being offered, there's one in the evening and one during the daytime. People are welcome to join in depending on their availability to one or both. Although it's not specific for the type of chronic condition that you have, so it won't be specific to COPD, everyone in that group has gone through their initial 6-week program, has a good understanding of what where their comfort zone is, what they're able to do, what types of modifications work best for them, and it's a very inclusive environment. People come from all different walks of life, health conditions, and abilities. So we keep it very inclusive, and I try to keep it pretty lighthearted and fun as well, because in the end, that's what people enjoy. Okay, so COPD and exercise, speaking specifically about COPD. So what effect does exercise have on COPD? And why do we want people to be active? So sometimes when we're talking to people with COPD who are breathless on a regular basis, it can be a hard sell to say, well, we're going to have you be more breathless by encouraging more movement. But I'm going to try and convince you that it's worth the effort. So essentially, exercise improves the ability of the body to transport and use oxygen. Okay, so that we become more efficient at transporting the oxygen that you breathe in through your lungs. It improves the strength and efficiency of the heart and the muscles, okay, which then improves the transport and use of oxygen. It improves bone strength and helps prevent infections. And as muscles get stronger, including your heart, you can do more with less effort. And that's the overarching idea here, is that although there will be some breathlessness coming with practicing cardiovascular movement and exercise, you become more efficient. So over time, hopefully the goal is that you're able to do more with less breathlessness, or at least the same level of breathlessness, but being able to achieve more in that time. And just a little note here, exercise, physical activity, and movement is one of the most useful tools for managing COPD, second only to quitting smoking, which is from the lung.ca website. You'll notice here, I talk a lot about exercise, physical activity, and movement interchangeably. Sometimes when we think about exercise, we have a preconceived notion in our mind that exercise is only for fit people. It's only for young people. It's not for people with medical conditions. And I really want to move away from that thinking. So I use movement, the term movement, a lot, and that incorporates all different types of movement that you might do in your day. The other reason I use these terms, the term movement preferentially over exercise, is because sometimes people enjoy movement that wouldn't qualify as a traditional exercise. So sometimes people enjoy doing some light movement around their house. So taking laundry up and down the stairs, or light gardening outside. And they might not identify that as exercise, but in fact, any type of movement is beneficial. And we also have people who join the program who are coming from a place of a lot of sedentary behavior. So a lot of, say, seated time. They're not feeling well, and they just don't have great physical condition to begin with. So for some people, simply going from sitting, which is a sedentary behavior, to standing moves you into light physical activity. So actually just standing is classified as light physical activity. So I use that term movement in a way to identify that I want people to find what works for them, and I want to meet you where you're at. It doesn't mean high intensity, really difficult exercises. That there's space here for everybody to find what works for them, and everyone will find something slightly different depending on where they are. Okay, so before you begin the program, we go through a fairly rigorous pre-screening process. So all of these forms are done virtually. So if you say, yep, I think I'm interested in this, I want to start the process, I will send you the forms. They come through a program called DocuSign, and DocuSign is a program that is in compliance with all of our Canadian Health Privacy Act information handling systems, so it's very secure. So you'll receive an email from me that will have different forms included, and you'll just click on the link and then fill out the information from your phone, tablet, or computer. You just click on the different things, you can type in your information, and there's even a process there where you can sign using your mouse or finger, okay? And then you just click send and it comes straight back to me. So then once I have your pre-screening information, then I go through it and take a look to see if there's anything that we need to discuss. Some people are fairly straightforward. They don't have multiple conditions. They've just got one condition, COPD. It's very straightforward, and away we go. Sometimes there's a bit more conversation that needs to happen, and I'm always happy to do that. The health screening forms ask questions about COPD and other chronic conditions. Very often people in all of the different types of programs that I run have co-conditions. So they may have COPD, but they're also diabetic. And that doesn't limit you from participating in a program at all. But I need to know for your own safety what types of health conditions you have, and just make sure overall that the program is safe for you. Generally, what I do is, and sometimes we do this in the screening portion, sometimes people will say, well, I have 2 conditions, which program should I sign up for? And then in that case, we have a discussion about which condition is limiting them the most. And then generally that's a good program for them to join. But again, I'm always happy to have that conversation and see what suits each participant best. You will need to submit your resting blood pressure and heart rate. So lots of people have at-home blood pressure cuffs, and those measurements are fine. And taking your own heart rate is not difficult to do. You can also submit your resting heart rate and blood pressure if you've been to your family physician or nurse practitioner recently. Some of the pharmacies now have their blood pressure machines up and running, so you can use those as well. We'll figure it out one way or the other, but you will need to have a resting blood pressure and heart rate measurement set to me. And then basically the process of all of this is just to assess for the safety of the program for you. We want to make sure that the program is as safe as possible for every participant. And there are certain things that need to be screened for prior to beginning. Okay, so who is this program right for? This program is really great for people who've completed the pulmonary rehab program and want to continue exercising. So several of the participants that I currently have in the graduate program did the pulmonary rehab program, really enjoyed it, and we're looking for a way to continue moving to help look after their health. So it's great for those people. It's also good for those who feel comfortable exercising in their own homes with no direct contact, because we're doing this virtually. Some people may not feel comfortable exercising not in the direct presence of an exercise professional. But if you feel generally comfortable with exercising in your home, that's great. And those who have stable, mild to moderate COPD. Okay. So who might want to wait in participating in the Exercise for Health program? Those who have severe COPD and have not participated in the pulmonary rehab program may not be good candidates for this program. Those who have a current or very recent exacerbation and don't have stable COPD right at this point should probably wait till the next offering until things settle out a little bit. Those who don't have a consistent medication plan with their healthcare provider. So if you're currently working with your healthcare provider to figure out inhalers or medications that work for you, and you're still going through that process, it's probably best to wait until things are a bit more stable for you. And then those with other medical conditions which may make exercising unsafe, but those are very few and far between. Okay, if you're not sure what category you fall into, and you're not sure if this is a good fit for you or not, I always welcome the opportunity to have a chat with people and discuss personally what their health conditions are, and I will help you figure out if this program is right for you. And if it's not right now, it may well be in the months to come. Okay, so here's a little bit about what you can expect from the Exercise for Health program. So we have weekly education sessions, which are approximately the first half of the hour. And the topics included are pretty wide ranging, but they're things like exercising or movement with COPD and what that means. Managing your own breathlessness. Okay, so I talk about when exercising, how do you manage your breathlessness? What types of strategies have you been given? I am not a respiratory therapist, so I don't prescribe these for people. But I'm always happy to have these conversations and talk about the types of things that you should be considering when exercising. We work on weekly intention setting. So intention setting is very similar to goal setting. So I used to call it goal setting. But what I realized was that for a lot of people, the word goal had the connotation of success or failure. And I fully understand that. And people were becoming disappointed in themselves if they didn't reach the goal that they had set that week. And that's not the spirit of this program. It's not for people to feel like a failure because they weren't feeling well, because life got busy, because work got in the way. So we moved over to the idea of intention and just setting your best intention for the week and what you hoped for yourself. But really with that underlying current of we're all just doing the best we can with what we're given, and the next week's a new week if this week wasn't the one for you. We talk about how to create a program that works for you, and I use the air quotes because a program for different people will look very different, but the idea is to customize it for something that works for each individual. We talk about different movement types and why we do them. So we talk about the details of what types of movements we can do in our day-to-day lives and do at home, and what benefits they have to our body. So is it strengthening? Is it cardiovascular? Is it balance? And we talk a lot about what kinds of activities we can incorporate into our daily lives. And we also talk about what does enjoyment look like for you? One of the biggest factors in people continuing healthy movement strategies throughout their life is that they enjoy it. What I enjoy may not be what you enjoy. So we talk a lot about incorporating things and incorporating exercise and movement into our lives in ways that make sense for you and that you find joyful, because in the end, that's what will keep you rolling. Okay, so then in the second half of the hour, we do our movement sessions. So these are fairly wide ranging, and they include a focus on the education topic taught that week. I demonstrate lots of new exercises, and the exercises that I teach focus on strength, balance, cardiovascular fitness, and flexibility. I'll give you an example of these at the end of the presentation so that you can kind of get an idea of the types of things we do. But in general, you should understand that the exercises that we do have a variety of different modifications. So I won't ever say, okay, now everybody just get up and we're going to jog on the spot, because I realize some people may be able to do that and some people absolutely won't be able to do that. So there's always different levels of exercises presented for each exercise. So some would be done seated, some would be done standing, and then some might be a little more intense. So they usually try for 2 or 3 different levels so that there's something there for everyone. And then at the end of the sessions, I always email everybody their exercise prescription. Let's see if I have one here somewhere. Basically it's just a piece of, oh yeah, here's one. It's an example. It's the exercises that I gave you that week so that you can have those to do at home. So for example, here's one, and it's going to be really tiny and you're not going to be able to see it, but it'll show you the images of each of the exercises we did, each of the different levels, as well as a written description. So you'll have that document. So if you go, oh, I really like those 2 exercises, but I don't quite remember how Katie said to do them, you'll have them here to refer back to. So over the course of the 6-week program, you'll have a collection of different exercises in your own toolbox that you can use to incorporate into your life, however that makes sense for you. Okay, so here's an example of what our presentations look like. So for example, this is the home presentation screen for week 1. So we do welcome and introductions. We talk about COPD and exercise. We do our intention setting, and then we do our movement time. Each week there'll be a bit of homework, and it's usually something like create your week's intention. When you sign up for the program and you're screened in, I will send you a resistance band. So everybody will receive one of these. So there's a resistance band in the mail, as well as a form that you can fill out to track your weekly intentions and the amount of exercise that you've done. So that's kind of a way to help try to keep people on track. Okay, and here we end every single education session with this safety slide. So we talk about the fact that if you're using supplemental oxygen or medication prior to or during exercise, you should do that before we begin. Checking blood pressure or heart rate prior to starting, if that's something that's a consideration for you. Checking your surroundings and equipment before starting. So moving any trip hazards and just making sure your space is clear. Having someone nearby is always a benefit for people if they're a little bit nervous about exercising. So having another adult nearby in case you should need someone is helpful. Start slowly and work up. Don't overdo it. So we say that consistently. You can always, if you do a bout of exercise and you feel good the next day, that's great. You can always do more. But if you overdo it to begin with, you can't take it back. So sometimes people end up a little bit sore, or they're so eager to get started that they do too much to begin with. So I'm always saying, start slow, we'll work our way up. And then as always listen to your body. So if something doesn't feel right, listen to what your body's telling you, and we can make some modifications. Okay, so for those of you who are interested in signing up, this is my website. So you just go to the website, and then there's a little tab at the top that says Exercise for Health. There's a short form there where you fill in your name, your phone number, your email address, and the type of chronic condition that you have. And then I receive that on my end, and I put you on the list of people who want to participate. And then when I have the date and time for the next program coming up, I'll email you and say, hey, this is the next offering. Are you interested in beginning the screening process? Make sure you check your junk mail. Lots of my emails go to people's junk mail and they're not aware, but then I usually do a phone call, so that's fine. If any of you have any questions now prior to starting, you're welcome to send me an email. So it's exerciseforhealth@gmail.com, or you can always give me a call. And if I don't answer, you can leave a message and I'll get back to you. Sometimes I find that people are hesitant to start because they're not sure if they qualify. They don't know if they're able to do it. And usually a quick chat on the phone can straighten that out right away. And people can feel better about moving forward with it. So if that's the case, please don't hesitate to reach out. Okay, so that's the end of my presentation. I'm just going to take a minute or two here to show you some of the exercises that we might do in the program. Okay, so I focus a lot on functional exercises. So functional exercises are the types of exercises that mimic the types of things that you would do day to day in your own homes. Because everybody's exercising in their own home, there's very few pieces of equipment we need. One would be a resistance band, and those will be mailed out to you. These are really handy pieces of equipment that can be customized for a lot of different people. The next will be a space in your home. It doesn't have to be very large. Something like 4x4 is great. If you've just got a small space in your home where you can do some movement, that's fine. The other thing I recommend is a sturdy chair. So usually kitchen chairs are a great option because we use the chair for a lot of exercises. So although I'm not going to get you to exercise along with me now because we haven't gone through all of the screening measures yet, I'm going to show you a couple of different exercises that would be used quite often in the types of, as an example of the types of exercises we do. So for example, this is a sit to stand exercise. So all we're doing is sitting in our chair, okay? So we cross our arms across our chest, and you're just going to go from sitting to standing as many times as is possible for you, and at whatever speed works for you. So will have participants who can't cross their arms over their chest, and that's okay. Sometimes they need to use the support of the chair that they're in, or their legs to move, and that's okay. So I'll have some participants who can do this and do all sorts of these, and that's not a problem. And for others, it may be fewer repetitions and more steady movement. So that sit to stand mimics the types of things that we do when we get up and down from the couch. in and out of our cars, up and down from the toilet, all sorts of really good, solid, functional movements that we do in our day-to-day, and it works on lower body strength. It's also really easily incorporated at home. It's nice because it's got a support, so if you need to rest in between, you're seated. And you can modify it depending on how quickly you want to do that and what your breathlessness is feeling like for you. So that's one example of an exercise that we do. I'll show you an example of a resistance exercise. So everybody will receive a band. And this is a strength exercise that we do. So this one is done seated. So we're seated in a chair, we've got our resistance bands, and these are bicep curls. So this works on strengthening the upper body. And it's another great functional movement because we use our biceps, which are located on the front of our arm here, for doing things like carrying groceries, lifting and moving boxes and laundry baskets and all sorts of things in our home. So this is an example of a strength exercise that we would do. And the resistance bands are great because they're adjustable depending on the length, the amount of resistance band you have between your pivot point and your arm. So I really like these because it's not a set amount of weight that you have to do at home. You can adjust these so that you've got the right amount of resistance for you, okay? And the other exercise that I'll show you, we do some cardiovascular exercise as well, because that's really important for people with COPD. So for example, we may do some exercises that are something like this. So we're clapping side to side and tapping, okay? So some people in the varying levels, if they need the level 1 or the easiest modification, might be seated in a chair and are doing this clapping movement. If they're able, they may move a leg side to side, okay? Then you have people who would want to do that standing. I always encourage support if they need it. So there may be something where they're doing something like this and just moving side to side, but supported with a chair, okay? And then we have the option of doing something unassisted and doing clapping side to side, standing. And the more you get your arms in and the more you get your legs in and the faster you go, the more that you'll find that challenges your cardiovascular system. So and we will also look at dynamic stretching and static stretching as well. So there's a little bit of everything in there. And one of the things I always tell people is that if there's an exercise there that doesn't work for you, I'm happy to find you another modification or a different exercise altogether. So there's absolutely no requirement for anybody to follow along with exactly what I'm doing.